The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests, and are not those of Pesmo Radio, its employees or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements of any radio show programs or products mentioned on air, on our website, social media accounts, and marketing materials. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to Pesmo Radio, its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing Pesmo Radio.
Are you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to the Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sarantos.
Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to the Songwriter Show. I'm your host, Sarantos. I'm a solo music artist who's been writing lyrics for as long as I can remember. Words are very important to me, and that's why I'm thrilled to host this show for you every Tuesday evening. I believe that every song is a story. The Songwriter Show is broadcast live on number one ranked Pesmo Radio and has listeners in all 206 countries in the world and every state in the U.S. The station is licensed with ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, and Sound Exchange, with partnerships throughout the music industry, including iHeartRadio and exposure to over 300 million listeners. Tonight's guest is Billy Ray Rock. He's a singer, bassist, and he's the first African-American rock artist since Lenny Kravitz, maybe even Jimi Hendrix. He's described by some as a dance rock artist. Some call him a modern-day Prince. Billy Ray plays more than 10 instruments and produces and performs every instrument you hear in his music. He delivers tracks in the genres on rock and R&B dance. Simply put, he's the king of ghetto rock.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Welcome to the show, Billy Ray. How you doing?
I'm doing real good, man. About yourself?
I'm doing great. I love your bio, man. This is just awesome. So it totally reminds me of Prince, by the way. You play 10 instruments. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
You're not like me who plays the piano and then pretends in Logic that, with MIDI that I can play every instrument, right? You actually play them.
No, I actually can play them, man. I don't get a chance to practice as much as I like to. But yeah, I could actually sound on the drums or sit down on the piano, and yeah, I actually can play it,
Awesome. When did you start playing?
Well, my first instrument was the clarinet. I was playing it way back when I was little, just in school in the band, and then that was probably the first time I touched a clarinet. I think it was in the 6th grade, and then I went from the clarinet to the saxophone for a little bit. Stayed there for just not long at all because, of course, my brother played sax, and he's the one that inspired me to influence me into getting into music as a whole. But he played sax, and so I played that for a minute. Then I settled down on the bass guitar, and
okay.
And so that's about that. Yeah.
What would you say nowadays is your most comfortable instrument?
Bass guitar.
Bass guitar. Okay, awesome. Well, that drives the groove and the rhythm, so that's a good one. Tell us a little bit about your name. You got a really cool name. How'd you come up with that?
Well, Billy Ray is my birth name, but when I decided to do my own solo thing, I was going to go by just plain old Billy Ray. But what happened, there's another Billy Ray out there named Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah, small artist, right?
Oh, yeah. He's a local guy, and not a lot of people know about him. No.
Yeah.
But Billy Ray, I figured if I went by just Billy Ray, people got to fight through Billy Ray Cyrus to find me online. So I thought I got to come up with something else. I don't want to change my birth given name, so I went by Billy Ray. I just threw Rock at the end. And a lot of people ask me, are you related to Chris Rock? No. I just basically needed a last name that I wouldn't have to spell to people. So I thought nobody has to know how to spell. Everybody knows how to spell the word rock.
Sure.
And it's coincidental that, I love rock and play it and all that, but that's not really where it came from. It's just something simple as that.
Okay. How often do you try to write? Do you try to write and play every day, once a week, whenever the mood strikes?
It just, I got to have something to say, It's a lot easier for me to make music than it is for me to write lyrics. I actually don't like writing lyrics. lyrics because you're held to a really weird standard of sorts. Ignore the ringing in the background.
No problem.
But there's no. Whenever you do lyrics, I've got to make sure that I stay on point. There's just more thought that goes into it. Making music more naturally comes to me.
Okay.
Yeah. So oftentimes when I put together a song, I'll just come up with something I want to say, and I'll grab one of 1,000 different music beds that I put together and go from there.
Yeah. And how do you get started? Do you start with the bass guitar? Do you start with melody, drum groove? What do you start with?
I generally, when it comes to putting together the music itself, typically I'll start with the first. I'll figure out what kind of song I want it to be. If it's going to be a dance song, I'll start with the drum. Then I'll lay in the bass. If it's going to be a rock song, I'll start with the melody. And then I'll figure in the guitars and then go from there. And so it just kind of depends on what I'm doing and what I'm feeling. Sometimes I want to do a dance song and I'll start off with the drum, then I'll put in the bass, and it won't work itself out to be a dance song. It'll work out to be more of an R&B song. So then things will switch up. You know, Michael Jackson said during an interview once, he said that when you write songs, you got to let it write itself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I ascribe by. You just got to let it write itself. Let the vibe take it where it's going to take you, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great point. Was your family musical? I'm just curious.
Well, just my brother was. I mean, all of my brothers in the family played some kind of horn, clarinet or something just through high school, that kind of thing. But my brother, Freddie, was the real big instrumental guy. I mean, this guy, I got to tell you, you know, I love me some Kenny G. I love me a lot of different people, but my brother, none of them had anything. And my brother used to do this thing called circulatory breathing. And that's where you could hit one note forever. And it's a definite technique to it. You blow air out of your mouth while you suck it in through your nose while not disturbing the actual note that you're hitting. And he was doing it way before anybody knew who Kenny G was. And so it's just one of the many incredible things that he's really good at, but it never really filtered over to anybody else in the family except for me. So that's about it.
Yeah, interesting. And what part of the country are you at right now?
Well, right now I'm in the Northwest, up here in Washington State.
Okay, that's a pretty area.
Yeah, it's nice, you know.
Yeah, you definitely got a little of your musical influence from up there, right? I think a couple of years ago I went to Seattle and I visited their rock museum, it was fascinating to visit that place.
It is. It really is fascinating. And, you know, I get my rock chops. My foundation for my rock comes from alternative rock, early Van Halen, Def Leppard, I'm into more of a melodic kind of alternative rock. Never been a metal guy. And I think that when you're messing around with this kind of Northwest area, you tend to find some of that same, melodic, Heart and a lot of those types of bands were from this area. And so it all definitely, it's all a melting pot for me. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of music when it's a melting pot like that, and you can take an influence from different people. I think that's really where the magic happens.
Absolutely. And I talk to people all the time about my influences versus inspiration. And I'm influenced by so many different, so you understand something. When I was a kid and we were living in the country, we didn't have 6,000 stations like a lot of these kids today. I know I'm dating myself, but we had to listen to, we had to go through Elton John and AC/DC, and you had to go through all that stuff just to get to a good Ohio Player song.
Yeah.
And you had to go through a bunch of more Hall & Oates and some other stuff, and America and Moody Blues, and you had to go through that just to get to an Earth, Wind & Fire song. So we were basically made to listen to alternative rock and classic rock at the time, certainly. And so it follows you around. I thought it was the dumbest music I ever heard at the time. But now, man, there's nothing like a good Jim Croce song. I got to tell you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
you know.
How do you figure out if a song you make is going to make it to the cut, like if it's going to be released into the world?
Well, usually for me, when I can step away from it, get my mind off of it, and then pull it out of nowhere and listen to it with fresh ears and feel like I get it, I get what I'm trying to do. Because what I do is when I make a song, I'll make the song and I'll essentially put it on the shelf. And I'll leave it on the shelf and go listen to other things. Kind of like, you know, when you're buying perfume, they make you smell coffee beans. Same kind of deal with my brain. I'll listen to things that will get that song out of my head. Then I'll go back and listen to it with fresh ears. And then it'll tell me. Now, a lot of the bigger, more specific answer to your question is a lot of it depends on what type of song I'm trying to create. You know, if I'm trying to create a love song or type of song that affects people in some kind of way, like a political type of song that's about the times. Like there's a song I did called Time Keeps On. It's that song that just touches people because we're in kind of trying times for a lot of people. And so a song like that, you know, it has to feel me. You know, like every producer has this switch inside of them where they can hear things like they're hearing it for the first time. Any great producer or songwriter has that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when you go in with fresh ears, if it's a dance song, you want to maybe move you tap your toe and all that, then it's good. And if you want to, you know, so it just depends, you know?
Yeah. No, I definitely hear you. What do you typically, when you create something, when you put it out into the world, do you let go of it? Or are you one of these guys that's always kind of thinking, oh, I wish I would have changed that or done that, and, you know, be kind of a perfectionist?
You know, it's funny. I was listening to an interview years ago, and they asked Lionel Richie, with all the technology, would you go back and change some of the hits that you've written, like 3 Times a Lady or Oh No, or, you know, songs? And he made a comment. He says, you know, I like the innocence of those songs. And he said, I would not want to change it because they would lose their innocence. Well, for me, I'm the kind of person that feels the same, but not from the innocent perspective. I feel like when I've done a song and it's done, it's done. Yeah. If I have something I want to express, my attitude is write a new song. You know, it's you know, you can't, because the thing is that when a song is done and you've buried it into your brain, well, you may hear 6 things, for example, about that song that you love. Well, then if you go back and hear it 1,000 times, you still may like those 6 things. But guess what? When you try to add in a 7th and 8th, you're going to think it's complimentary. But to somebody who's never heard it the first 6, they're just going to think it's noise. So, and I would not want to risk that after putting the effort into a particular track.
Yeah, I think you're totally hitting on a major point there. I know when I first started, I would sit and psychoanalyze every aspect and tweak it. And I think my first music video, I must have edited like 100 hours. Oh. And it's funny because the further along I got, you just kind of let it go and forget about it. And you're right. Just write a new song.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, you just,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, if you're going to change it, then just write a new song and make that change to that new song. Because look, any song, any great song is like, it's like a basketball game. You got to win all 4 quarters to win the game. You know, you can't have, and you're only going to be judged, like your weakest point is what you're going to be judged by. You can have a song with it can come on, it can have a great chorus, it can have a crappy verse, then it has another great chorus, and then the next verse is great.
Yeah. Then
people will oftentimes be lukewarm to it. If you're talking about like a typical top 40 song. You know, but as you know, there are great songs out there that the verses are just garbage, but the chorus is so catchy, people love it to death. A perfect example is that "Who Let the Dogs Out" song. Yeah, you know, I mean, the verse is just, what are you talking about? And then you get to the chorus, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, who let the dogs out?" You know, and so it's, you know, it's possible to do it. There's a lot of other songs that are example. I mean, "Whoop, There It Is" comes to mind if you're going to go back further, but when you want it all to stand, you know, on its own merits, you know. And I think that's my kind of philosophy when I write these songs.
Yeah. Do you try to write daily?
No, I just write when it hits me. I was reading an article on Prince, and they were going on about how he gets these songs just logged up in his head, and he just got to express it. That's why he got 10,000 songs in the vault that he has out in Paisley Park or whatnot, and everything. I'm not that guy, I don't got songs pinging around in my head. But when I get an inspiration to write a song, I want the ability and the space to write it. And that's why I do multi-genres. I got a song called the USA song, which is kind of a 4th of July, hey, we're in the USA type of song. And at the same time, I've got another song called, I talked about, Time Keep On. I've got a song called Sunglasses at Night. And there's no reference to Corey Hart's 80s song, by the way. But I got a song called Sunglasses at Night, which is kind of part trap, part EDM, part R&B dance. And then I got another song that I did called Bad News, which is straight rock. So I want to have the space to do the style that I want to do when I do it. And you can't, for me to be able to do that, I just kind of wait until it hits me. Everybody operates differently, but that's what works for me.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite 90s jam or song that you want to share with us?
A favorite 90s song? Probably be a toss-up between, there's a song called Where Do We Go? And I forget the name of the group that sings it.
I know what song you're talking about. I love that song.
Night from the Roxbury album.
Yeah, I love that song. That's it.
Where do you go, my lovely?
Yeah.
Great song. Acoustic guitars. It's really weird. That song's by a boy band. Nobody knows that. Is
it Menudo or is it...
like 3 or 4 Latino guys that jumps around on stage with...
Noah, what's their name?
No
more?
It is not Menudo, actually.
Yeah, I know they had 2 good songs, and I can't remember their name. Yeah.
They did, yeah. But that's probably at the top. I mean, I like On Blue, that F.A. guy.
Yeah.
I'm blue, abba-dee, abba-die. There's some songs, that I gravitate to. I know in the 90s, right now, I think that was a 90s thing, Van Halen, isn't it? Isn't that in the 90s?
Yeah.
Right now. I think that's a phenomenal song.
Oh, for sure.
I think the video's even better. The video, I'd never get tired of watching that video. It's a deep video. But
do you have any apps on your phone that you can't live without?
No. I have plenty I couldn't live without. No, I'm not much into the social media thing, man. My management encourages me and to do it. My kids make fun of me because I don't do enough of it and because I don't know how to do half the stuff. But I'm not. I got a TikTok account, and I post stuff on there when I can. I find myself looking at TikTok because they put a lot of good-looking meals on there. It gives me ideas of stuff to cook. Yeah,
that's true. What do you think is going on in the music business in the next year? Where do you see it going?
I think in the next year, I think what's going to happen is a lot of artists are going to get a false sense of their live performance skills. And in the next year, reality is going to hit. And I'll explain what I mean. There's a lot of artists out there who can't tour right now. So all they could do is make songs in their garage or in their closet or wherever, okay? Some of these artists are going to peel off some hits.
Sure.
I mean, it's a numbers game. So some of those artists, and some of them aren't going to have hits. Some of them are just going to be hugely successful with streaming and all that. And they're going to do a few live streaming shows in their mom's kitchen. And they're going to get a lot of people watching. They're going to start to believe that they're really good live. And all of a sudden, they're going to come out with a vaccine, all this stuff. And they're going to start opening up venues for concerts. And some of these artists are going to get out in front of 500, 1,000, 5,000 people. And they're going to go down in flames. And they're going to understand the difference between being maybe just an artist and being a complete performance artist.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I think the bedroom artists, you look at some of the people that have been successful, but I think you're right. I think there's this false sense of security because live is a whole different animal.
It really is.
And it really is, yeah. People sit and talk about Billie Eilish, but her brother is a master producer too. So she's not truly like a bedroom artist. And she's been on a label and they've been kind of gearing up to this for a couple years. So it's not exactly what people think when they think, oh, well, she did it and she did it all in her bedroom. It's like, not really. And and she had the machine behind her and people are kind of discounting that, I think.
Absolutely. She was, they had her on the road. It's funny, like, people don't understand oftentimes the stuff behind it. Like people, I don't know how many people remember this. I remember when Pink first kind of blew up. She had her first hit was the artist Pink. She had the first hit was There You Go. There You Go. Back in the day.
Yep.
And she came out with that album where she was like, I'm not pretty like Britney. I want to do it my way. I forget the name of the song. But it was a song essentially saying that she's not going to be put into a box and she's not going to be packaged. And what people don't understand was that was the marketing strategy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The marketing strategy was you're not going to be put into a package. That was the package. And people don't get that. They think that she was this rogue artist who just did it her way. No, she didn't. I mean, she was with L.A. Reid and LaFace and Babyface, those guys. They said, look, this is how we're going to package you. And people bought it hook, line, and sinker.
And it was perfect timing, too.
Oh, absolutely. It's a lot that has to go right for something like that to be successful. And good for her. She's enormously talented. I'm not trying to, throw some shade at her. She's got chops, and, God, she's been around for a while.
Absolutely.
And stand power. So, so I'm really, into Pink and all that. But that's just an example of, hey, it's not as simple. And you're right. People think that somebody like Billie Eilish was just in the garage and working on her sound and perfecting her sound and got this cult following and just blew up. And it didn't really happen like that,
Yeah, that's true. Tell us about this song that we're going to hear in a minute here. What inspired it?
Now, we're talking about Get the Funk, I'm assuming, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Get the Funk is an interesting song. I started off listening mostly to funk music. And the years went by. I went in and out of a few different bands and experienced things in life. But when I came out of the other side, I was a 90s rapper. And I wanted to do funk music back then. But nobody wanted to hear it because the day and age of the live band was behind us. And, I thought, man, I want to do funk. So years went by. And every time I would do a funk song, people would say, hey, you know what, man? That's dated. Nobody's doing it. You're old. And I thought, screw you guys, man. I love this music. Well, anyway, years goes by, and along comes somebody named Bruno Mars. So everybody accepted Bruno Mars, and by the time he came out with 24 Karat, everybody's full on board. And what that told me is there's still an audience out there that likes funk music. Well, what happened at the same time that I came to that conclusion, it had dawned on me that my longtime influence in music, my brother Freddie, I had never done a song with him. I thought, it's funny, I've done all these songs, thousands of songs I've written, I've toured the country everywhere, never did a song with him. So I called him up and I said, hey, Freddie, man, I got this song I'm working on, man. I'd love to do something with you. You think you can drop a horn solo on it? I sent him the track. He sent it back. We put that together. And here came Get the Funk. And I wanted, when I did the song, by the way, because I had so much pent up oppression, I felt like I was being oppressed from not doing any funk music, that when I wrote the lyrics out, I wanted to pay homage to a lot of funk bands and R&B bands of the past. And that's why if you listen to the lyrics, I say, Slave and Funkadelic and Rick James, and I bring up all those, Cameo and, Roger and Zapp and Ohio Players. I bring them all up into that song. And so, that's kind of how this song came about.
Awesome. All right. We're going to take a listen to it right now, and then we'll come back, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Check this out.
Get the funk. What you talking about, man? Then you gotta give it up. I tell you this thing about get the funk. Then you gotta give it up. Get the funk. Then you gotta give it up. Get the funk. Then you a party. We don't need the police. We ain't smoking that naughty. But you can kiss on me. Take it back to the old school. Before pills and meth. We're gonna turn this to a block party. And we about to get lit. You don't know about Cameo, Confunction, James Brown. Then you can't tell me who Roger is or Rick James throwing down. Every time yeah, talking about man. Throw it back like when we don't care cause we be here to do this. Just let me be clear. Woo! You gotta give it up. Talking about you gotta give it up. If you wanna dance, somebody show these kids. Big Bro, can you give them some phone now? Freddie, give them a little bit. Woo! Let's go. That old school pump right there, bro. Get it, yeah. Sexy people got nothing to lose. We showing up late by the 1:45. In the VIP, we the who's who's. You ain't a part of this clique, don't cruise through. Let's go out to Roscoe's chicken spot. You can ask somebody about the funk we got. It's like Bruno Mars meets Billy Ray Rock. I can take you back when Slade was hot, when Parliament first album dropped, when Knee Deep built the dance floor out, Earth, Wind and Fire, make the people stand up. If you feel it's funk, throw your hands out. We don't care cause we be here to do this. Just let me be clear. If you wanna dance, somebody show these kids. Big Bro, can you give them some phone now? Freddie, give them a little bit. If you wanna dance, somebody show these kids. Big Bro, can you give them some phone now? Freddie, give them a little bit. Get the phone, ain't nothing but a party. Get the phone, you gotta give it. JD said that's Fred right there.
All right, so that was a really cool song, man. What was the main instrument for that song, you think?
The main instrument in it, other than the sax solo, it's the bass, you know, pulls.
Bass, it's all about that bass.
Yeah.
You've been on any cool road trips in the last decade? I know you're not traveling much for coronavirus now, but how about the last decade?
Oh yeah, man, I've done some cool concert tours, man. Different areas, you know. It's always funny to me whenever I go do a concert somewhere, because I used to take it personal when people didn't show up.
Yeah,
you know. Oh man, nobody's here. I must suck. And you start to realize when you go to some of these towns that it's not really about you. It's about promoters. It's about the club venue, or whether or not they're handling their business right. So when I go to these towns, what constitutes cool to me anymore is not even so much the people, the crowd, whether it's that big. It's the people that I meet before and after the shows. And that's what's fascinating to me. And there's some parts of the country, you know, like Cincinnati, Ohio, Atlanta is a cool place to go. There's just some different places where any place where there's alcohol abuse tends to be really fun.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's kind of, you know.
All right. You watching any good TV series right now?
Yeah, I've been hooked on this one show called Hannah.
Oh, Hannah.
Which is on,
yeah.
Yeah, just getting into that, man. I just started the second season. It starts off kind of slow if y'all are curious about it. But when you get into it, it's a solid show. I tell you another show that I love, I'm getting ready to go binge watch for the second time, is Travelers. That's a really good show.
That's a great show. Yeah. I love Travelers.
Love it, man. I'm such a fanatic of that show. And when I heard that they canceled it, I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Wait, they canceled it? They're not, no more?
Canceled. No more.
Oh,
that's it.
Now I'm bummed, man.
I know, brother. I don't be the one to tell you.
Oh, man. I keep all these things in my queue, and like I don't even know like what's canceled and what's not.
Yeah, they pulled the plug on that one, man. But yeah, so there's some out there, man. You know, I mean, Sons of Anarchy is good to binge watch if y'all have people out there ain't seen that. You know, it's good stuff. There's some shows out there that I think that are really good, because now there's not a whole lot to watch. I mean, I'm watching The Chi on Showtime, and they still got new episodes. But man, other than that, it's just not a lot going on.
Yeah. Do you ever do anything with your publishing, with music, film, and TV? You try to get your songs or instrumentals into any of that?
I do when I can. I got a song called "Had a Good Woman," and we've been trying to get that into some different type of shows. It's a kind of a biker love story, if you will.
Sure.
You know, for cats that's kind of been in a little bit of trouble, and you know, so you got those kind of. So I'm working on a song right now called "Bad Luck," and who knows which way that's going to go. But yeah, we like to get into that and entertain some ideas. I get calls from people who are doing independent films, and I tell them, well, send me just a trailer of the film. And it's, you know, some of them are legitimate B-movie films that aren't going anywhere, that I've in the talks with them to this day about getting my stuff on them. Then we get all types, man. I get people out there making songs in their cousin's backyard, and they're asking me about using my song as a backdrop, and I tell them, well, you know, I don't want to give you this song, then have somebody from Sonar Pictures call me up for a new song, a new movie with The Rock in it, and now I can't, you know, so.
Yeah, I hear you.
Careful, you know.
Give us your contact information. Where can people stream your stuff, buy it, get in touch with you if they want to?
Well, you can always find me anywhere on Spotify, iTunes, at Billy Ray Rock 1, the number 1. You can go to my website. You can find me at www.billyrayrock.com. I'm on all the social media outlets. I'm on, like I said, TikTok, Billy Ray Rock 1. I'm on Instagram, Billy Ray Rock 1. I mean, pretty much everywhere you go, there's talk about TikTok being canceled. So I'm on Byte. For y'all that's on Byte, Billy Ray Rock 1. You can also find me. I'm on my YouTube channel. You can find me there. Just go Billy Ray Rock, Reverb Nation. I'm there. You can catch me SoundCloud.com/Billy Ray Rock 1. You know, and if you guys hear this, man, I've lovingly called my fans Ray Rockers. So if you're a fan or a supporter of mine, become a Ray Rocker, support me 100%. And I'm telling people, for the first 50 people that go to BillyRayRock.com, my website, and register their email address and become part of the mailing list, I will send you a free Ray Rocker t-shirt. Okay?
Wow,
so
that's awesome.
When you hear people, send it in, become a Ray Rocker, man. Ride with me, man. I'm doing all kinds of stuff, man. My tour is gonna be electric this time out. We're dropping off all kinds of songs and rock, and we're gonna take you around the bend, baby. So it's all good, man. Yeah, you can catch me there. But if you want to catch me on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Billy Ray Rock, and you write out the word 1, O-N-E. So there you go.
That's awesome, man. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me, man. And by the way, you know, I get a lot of people out there, man, that listen to my music. And I'm going to let you know and all your listeners know, man, you know, I worked years at this, man. It's a lot of lonely moments writing. I didn't have girlfriends that I've lost. because of this. And so I'm at a point in my life and in making this music, man, where if I could just have one person that loves what I do, man, it's all worth it. So I feel so incredibly blessed to be on this show. I feel incredibly blessed for you to take the time to want to hear what I got to say, man. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So I want to thank all the fans for listening and tuning in tonight. If there's any artists out there who want to be on the Songwriter Show, please just reach out to me. I hope everyone's unique story gets heard around the world. My name is Sarantos. Please join me every Tuesday night to hear other amazing artists share their fascinating behind-the-scenes stories right here at the Songwriter Show. And tonight, I'm going to leave you with one of my songs called Hero Falls. Who doesn't love a good movie? One of the biggest joys in my life are movies. Whether it's a chance to watch one, write a screenplay, or fantasize about being in one, movies are probably number 2 in my master list of passions. Of course, right after music. With this song, I thought it'd be fun to work on a classic soundtrack type of song. The lyrics were inspired by movies of epic battle scenes with heroes and villains such as Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Gladiator, and many more. Hero Falls was created by me one rainy night. Of course, I just had to include a twist with double meanings. Does the hero fall in battle? In love? There are many possible interpretations as this climactic ending unfolds both vocally and musically. It's a genuine song, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed writing it. Have a great night. I love you guys. Thank you.
Sun abandons this thirsty, ravished land. He's weary after a long, effortful day. Takes off his heavy armor. She asks if he feels okay. He stirs her endlessly fresh hair. She grins then looks playfully where he fancies her devoted eyes and shy smile. She's happy he made it to the end of the day. A long day forgotten with a slip of a turn. The battle-hardened hero falls in love. Embracing, they seem so at peace. She's tending stitches in happy's home. This lucky glowing to some, forget the anger lurking outside. Maybe this is the last twinkle. Who knows what tomorrow brings? They just enjoy each other's company. Their hearts forget almost everything. A long day forgotten with a slip of a turn. The battle-hardened hero falls in love. There are soldiers outside, shivering to the bone, with no love's light or soothing eyes tonight. But these two are happily sleeping inside. It's time to wake up now, but he's not wanting to leave. The sheets are where he wants to stay. Together, softly they breathe. Then he whispers as he walks away, my love, thank you for what you do for me. The unyielding stars might call out my name, but tonight we'll make better memories. A meaningful night remembered with a slip of a tongue. The battle-hardened hero falls in love. A long day forgotten with a slip of a tongue. The battle-hardened hero falls. A long day forgotten with a slip of a tongue. This battle-hardened hero might fall, but will always be in love.
Thank you for listening to The Songwriter Show. To keep the momentum going, head over to www.songwritershow.com and join our free music community of artists, songwriters, and producers. That's www.songwritershow.com.
Thank you for choosing Pesmo Radio.